Hi there, Dr. Chris, day 2 of the Resist Burnout Challenge. Yesterday was catching ourselves being ourselves. Today, second day, is I have a what? Yes, you have an energy body. So we were practicing yesterday catching ourselves being ourselves, noticing those habituated patterns that keep us from moving forward into more power, that actually can become obstacles and they can create more burnout than they're worth. So we looked at ourselves with a get real list. Secondly, I shared a mantra affirmation with you about encouraging you to be a little kinder with yourself and to have some compassion, because as we're moving towards something new, we're letting something else go. And in fact, choosing to be and notice what is so right now is choosing to not resist who we are. So we're going to resist burnout by getting to know ourselves. And then lastly, I asked you to make a commitment about a behavior that you're going to actually let go in order to move forward. That was yesterday. Today, and hopefully I'd love to hear your practices, so you can go on over to the Facebook page and share them. That would be great to hear from you. Today, it's all about noticing how you experience pressure. How do you experience pressure in your energy body? So what do I mean by energy body? We measure energy in our life energy. They call it ki or chi, elan vital. It's this sense of being alive, this aliveness that we all are, that we can lose touch with really easily. So some people, when I talk about energy bodies, they're like, that is just really weird. You're out there. The reality is we measure energy all the time. So think about this. You go to the doctor, they do a stethoscope on your chest. They're listening to your energy, your heart flow. They take your pulse, or you take your pulse. Sometime after workout, anytime, you take your pulse, you're measuring your energy. You do blood pressure, you take your blood pressure, you're measuring energy. You're eating a certain kind of food that gives you energy or doesn't. You're aware of, I'm sleepy, I'm really awake. You're talking about energy. We're energy bodies. And the sooner we can get to know how and where our energies are being spent, we can bring them, harness them in so that they can move in the direction that we'd like to go. So we're going to talk about energy bodies. What we know is that unchecked pressure sets us up for burnout. It just sets us up. So that unchecked pressure could be a mindset that says, I have to be calm and collected all the time, even though inside I'm freaking out and there's more and more pressure. It could be a certain emotion that gets me every time. Maybe I'm angry, maybe I'm sad, maybe I'm just chronically kind of frustrated. That can be a state that gets me going and moves toward burnout, right? It could be something in my body that I'm not attending to, a chronic shoulder issue, chronic hip, etc. So across all of those domains, mind, heart, and body, we can get ourselves in a jam if we're not checking our pressure. So the first practice we're going to do today is checking the pressure. And so I'd like you to sit up right now, and we're going to do this a couple ways. So sit up nice in your chair, nice tall. You can remember that in-breath and exhaling down. So settling in, and instead of focusing on the breath right away, I'd like you to just scan from the top of your head down your face, noticing holding. Could be at your eyes, your jaw, your mouth. And as you continue on your next out breath, you're moving down the body, shoulders, chest, hands. Another breath, noticing your hips, knees, feet. We're simply doing a scan of what's so in the body and noticing where it is that we might be holding pressure. Maybe extreme pressure or holding, or it could be very subtle. So take another breath and do the body scan on your own for a moment here, checking in with all those places. Becoming friendly with your own energy body. And then when you're ready for another in-breath, Breathing in and up through the top of the head, like we did yesterday, down and soft in the chest, and bringing something to mind that makes you smile. And if your eyes are closed, you can open them now. So years ago, before I was really on to catching myself being myself, I would get chronic tension headaches. They would all be right around here, and it would just be pounding and pounding. I went to the doctor. I thought there was something wrong. I wasn't sure what it was. And after some questioning, she basically said, "Chris, you're under stress." And I'm like, no, that can't be it. There's got to be something going on here. I must have migraines or something. I wanted to believe a different story. But what she told me was that really you need to pay attention to your stress. So since then, right now, and up until now, whenever I start to get tension here, it's a sign. It's like a yellow caution sign that says, wait, what am I not paying attention to that's stressing me out? What is the pressure right now? And again, it could be a worry, a concern. It could be something physical going on. It could be anything. But the trick is you want to know how it is that your body in this system is dealing with the pressure. So here's the second part of this practice. Go ahead and sit up again. And you can do this with your eyes open or closed. We want to bring mindful attention. We know that where we put our attention is where our energy goes. Let me say that again. Where we put our attention is where our energy goes. So I'll be asking you to put your attention in a particular place. So we'll take a few moments here, eyes open or closed, and bring to mind a junior-sized pressure that you're currently dealing with. It could be about anything. And I'd invite you to turn up the temperature dial on the pressure, if you will. So ratchet it up on purpose. And notice the shift in your body. And then turn that dial right down again. Recenter yourself. So again, taking another deep breath in, exhaling down, bringing to mind something that makes you smile. And then bring to mind that same situation again. Junior-sized pressure. Turn up the proverbial dial on the pressure. Notice what happens in your body. And then turn that dial right back down. One last in-breath up. Exhaling down and softening, bringing to mind something that makes you smile. Now, I don't know about you. You might have had quite an interesting experience. It might have been more subtle. But every time I do this practice, and I'd invite you to pay attention here, the body will start to contract. Because what's happening in the brain is the brain doesn't have a sense of time like we have a conscious sense of time. There's all this activity going on in our bodies all the time. All the processes that help us to breathe and have respiration, to digest food, to work to get the proper amount of oxygen to our blood and in our blood to all of our cells. All that's going in the backdrop. It's out of our awareness. And when there's even the slightest bit of stress and pressure, we start to contract. Could be really subtle. It could be more than subtle. So what I'd invite you to do every day this week for the remainder of the week is just to simply tune in on where do you notice it. I've shared this centering practice yesterday and today. It's pretty simple. So for initially, I just want you to breathe in and up, exhale down and soft, bring to mind something that makes you smile. And again, you're shifting the chemicals, you're shifting the conversation inside your body that says, I don't need to be stressed about this. Let me have a look while I can let go into it so I can examine it more carefully. There you go. So the next part of what I'm up to today is pretty simple. It has to do with looking at the areas in our lives and our bodies where we're expending energy. So I'll have a graphic also in this email that shows this sort of temperature gauge, right? So Tony Schwartz is a guy who owns the Energy Project. He talks with people about energy all the time. And he has 4 useful categories that I'm going to share with you here and that are reflected in this slide that I'd like you to have a look at. Basically, what he says is we have high and low energy, and we have up and down energy. High and low, up and down. Let's just call it that. And there's 4 domains that you'll see in this slide that I'll share with you. What he's done in studying athletes, especially high-performing athletes, is that they seem to live in a high state of positive, elevated energy. And the rest of us who are not practicing or training at that level can shift across and into these 4 domains. So here's the 4 domains. The first one's physical. Are you getting enough sleep at night? We need, like 95% of us really need 7 to 8 hours of sleep a night. Are you getting enough water? Are you hydrated? Are you dehydrated? Are you getting enough to eat every day? And pretty much eating is fine, except that we know sugar really impacts our energy. So you want to have a look there. What's my sugar intake? How's the rest of my eating? And then lastly, what's the rest and recovery? What's your level of fitness? And he talks about fitness as being our capacity to recover more or less quickly. So on the physical domain, where are you? Energetically, from an emotional point of view, when are you at your best? When do you have the most sense of alive, interested, engaged energy? When are you really not in that space? You want to have a look at it. When are you at your best? What's going on energetically? What's contributing to that? You want to have a look. Mentally, you want to be able to notice where you're minding your mind. So we call it minding the mind. Where is my mind going? And this is where mindfulness meditation that I teach also comes in. Paying attention and in the moment, non-judgmentally, simply having a look like we did yesterday. Where's the mind? Where's your attention going? For high performance, we can't multitask. We just really are not wired to do that. That's a computer concept. Our bodies are not wired for that. What we want to do is take, let's say, a big project, and you want to take part of that project, chunk it down, and do one thing at a time, which is actually what computers do. They do it really super fast. We can't see it. But we have to be able to do one thing at a time. So minding your mind, taking a pause, and simply noticing where you're at. It'll help you use and make better use of your time and set your priorities. Also, we know that you need to be getting up every 60 to 90 minutes and moving, using the washroom, getting something to drink, taking a little walk, because you want to reset. We know in the workplace today that we get 78 average interruptions every day. And about 2/3 of those we do all by ourselves. So we're interrupting ourselves all day. If it's something important, it can take up to 20, 25 minutes to actually refocus. So I'm writing an article, we're getting going on something, oops, I get interrupted, and it comes back, and I have to literally get my mind to come with me to refocus on the task. We know that probably 60% of people are reading their texts on vacation. They're not really getting away to rest. We know that this takes a toll. That about 70% of the average American workforce is actively disengaged on any day. They're really not present. So mentally, one thing at a time. Emotionally, when are you at your best? Physically, how are you along those domains of eating and rest and recovery? Fitness. The last area is spiritual. And what he means by that, and I agree with that, is what actually gives you juice? What's the bigger concern in your life that you care about? What do you actually care about? What are your concerns? We have many, and we live inside of many concerns and many commitments, which, if we're not careful and minding our boundaries and our bases, we'll talk more about that later. If we're not actually doing that, we're going to expend a lot more energy, not get renewed, and feel exhausted on the way to burnout. So to avert that, you want to notice where your energies are going. So here in your homework today, you have a quiz to take and to score yourself on where your energies are going. And again, I would remind you to read that declaration that I created for you yesterday so you can read it, offer some kindness to yourself, realizing just where you are and where's it going. So lastly, and it's on your homework too, is notice one new action that you're going to commit to from this day forward through the end of the week, which one will have the greatest impact? Does it mean getting more sleep at night? Does it mean doing a body scan so you can let go into the energy? What does that actually mean? Pick one behavior, choose to do it for the next few days. Tomorrow, what we'll do is we're going to be diving into mindset and mood and how to work with the energies a little bit more. Have a great day. Talk to you tomorrow.